Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Dayangku Dr. Syahirah Amanina Suhaili, and I am here today to talk about reviewing the adaptability of the e-classroom interactional competence CIC concept in online content-based lessons in Brunei Higher Education Institution. Due to the pandemic, schools and universities have to forego face-to-face learning F2F for synchronous online learning SOLs. Now the question begs, how do we ensure quality learning through online? What are the competencies required? Walsh introduced the classroom interactional competence as a way to show the ability of teachers and students to use language as a tool to mediate and assist learning. And this has been adapted by Morehouse et al. Not only in F2F, but also through SOLs. Therefore, for this paper, I would like to answer these questions. How does the concept of ECIC work in synchronous online lessons? Number two, how does the concept of CIC work in content-based lessons? And the final one is how can the concept of ECIC be adapted in online content-based lessons in HAIs? The main literature used for this paper is by Morehouse, Lee, and Walsh on e-classroom interactional competencies, mediated and assisting language learning during synchronous online lessons. The literature aims to identify the affordance of CIC in synchronous online learning and to identify the skills and knowledge that teachers require to use interaction and mediate and assist learning. The main questions asked was what competencies do teachers need in order to use interaction as a tool to mediate and assist language learning in synchronous online lessons? They found three competencies that are required, which are technological competencies, online environment management competencies, online teacher interactional competencies. Then, now let's look at the first main competencies, which is the technological competencies. Due to the technical challenges found in synchronous online learning, teachers are faced with the instability of online communication, leading to the use of multiple platforms at the same time. Added to that is the trials of adapting the best practice from F2F to online. Teachers are forced to keep updating themselves with the latest technologies and practices. Similarly, is crucial in the online content-based lessons where physical distance limits the type of learning conducted. Teachers may end up filling the gaps in students' contribution. Therefore, interactional strategies through multiple platforms will provide different opportunities for learning. However, another thing to consider for content-based lessons is the transition between everyday language in social media platforms and the academic language used in educational platforms. Which brings us to the next competencies, which is the online environment competencies. This focuses on the difficulty of maintaining students' interest, which lead to an increasing amount of time taken to set up activities. Specific design lessons have to be considered to manage students' lessons or learning. Aside from that, teachers have to manage their time with students in the class and out of the class. The use of context-specific expectations and routines as in the F2F classroom may not apply in online. A suggestion was made by Morehouse et al. To develop a virtual flipped classroom approach where materials on the lessons were provided in advance to allow for more space for learning during the source. As mentioned above, the content-based lessons may require additional strategies on how to deal with transition from everyday basic interpersonal communication skills, BICS, to the more cognitive academic language proficiency, CALP. Teachers will have to act as a guide in bridging and translating the knowledge such as through interactional scaffolding, which requires more space for learning. Integrating language into content-based lessons such as in the Content and Language Integrated Learning CLIL may be one way to help with the transition. The third competencies talk about the online teacher interactional competencies, where the use of particular interactional features may reduce the increasing teacher talk time online and create more space for learning. Certain features in online platforms limit the interaction required between the teachers and students, such as the mute button. Aside from that, teachers have to establish certain rules during face-to-face lessons, which may differ to rules required in online learning. Other interactional strategies could be developed to allow more space for learning, such as strategic wait time and questioning techniques. Most importantly, teachers need to be aware of the role of students in their own learning. Most often in content-based lessons, the rule set follows a teacher-led strategy, which leads to a predominance of the initiation response feedback IRF pattern. However, appropriate use of this pattern may allow for more opportunities to create space for learning. Although the limited channels offered online may lead to miscommunication, interactional strategies such as questioning techniques, scaffolding, and wait time opens up learning opportunities. This ability in teachers to make real-time decisions in employing these interactional strategies, aiming to create space for learning and shape students' contribution, is what we call CIC. Moving on to the question on how we could adapt ECIC to online content-based lessons, in comparison to English medium instructions adopted in Brunei higher education institution, the CLIL approach was introduced in Europe to incorporate language to content-based instruction. This also provides opportunities for translanguaging of the academic language COB from everyday language BIGs. In regards to synchronous online learning, the online content-based lessons could benefit in adopting the virtual flipped classroom as a way to provide more space for learning during in-class time and thus develop teachers and students CIC. Proper adoption of CIC also requires some interactional strategies developed through reflective practice using the self-evaluation of teacher-taught set framework or co-teaching with two professionals sharing instructional responsibility for a group of students. In conclusion, the main literature points out three competencies required to understand the ECIC of synchronous online learning. These competencies can be applied to online content-based lessons, but with particular differences in the pedagogical goals and language requirement. This paper found that adopting the concept of CIC to online content-based requires not only the understanding of three competencies, but also the integration of language in content-based instruction, the consideration of everyday language to academic language transition, the ability to provide space for learning such as using VFC, and the assurance of CIC development in regards to pedagogical goals and the use of interactional strategies through the set framework and or co-teaching. Currently, Brunei Higher Education Institution adopts the English Medium of Instruction EMI approach in content-based lessons. However, this paper points out the importance of language in interaction, not only in the language classroom, but also in the content-based classroom, which requires some interactional strategies. Therefore, to provide more quality learning, it is recommended to adopt CIC to the online content-based lesson. That's all from me.